Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade kindergarten to 2 English lesson on subject and predicate. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade kindergarten to 2. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of subject and predicate. All right. So we see our chapter is subject and predicate. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing we're doing kindergarten to grade 2. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of subject and predicate is to identify the subject of the sentence. And we are going to identify the predicate of the sentence. So we're going to find out what a subject is and basically what a predicate is. All right, so when it comes to subjects and predicates, right? So every sentence has a subject and it has a predicate. It's like saying every sentence has a person or thing that they are talking about, as well as the action that they are doing. And when it comes to the subject, right? The subject, it tells us either who. So the subject tells us who or what is doing something. Who or what is doing the action. And when it comes to the subject, right, it can either be just one word or it can be more than one word that basically tells us about who or what is doing something within that sentence. And if we look at the few examples, right, of a subject, which is basically it tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. And remember, we said that the subject can either be one word or it can be more than one word. And if we look at the our subject in the first sentence, and then it says she sleeps a lot. She sleeps a lot. And if we were to identify our subject within that sentence, so we say she sleeps a lot. And if we were to identify the word that tells us who or what is doing something, then we can say it is she. She is the person that basically tells us who is doing something. If we look at the next one says her friend sleeps a lot. So she sleeps a lot, a friend sleeps a lot. And if we were to identify the subject that tells us who or what sleeps a lot, then we can say it's her friend. So her friend sleeps a lot. So which means that if we were to identify the subject, then it is her friend. Remember, we said it can be one word or more than one word. The next one says her best friend sleeps a lot. Her best friend sleeps a lot. Sorry. And if we were to identify our subject, and we'll say her best friend. So if you look at those three sentences, right? The subject, it tells us who is doing something or what is doing something. And like we said, it can be one word, it can be more than one word. Yes, her friend is correct. Well done. Because that tells us either who is doing something. So her friend is doing something. So well done. All right. And if we look at those three sentences, right? At first is she is our subject that tells us who sleeps a lot. A friend was the second one in the sentence of who sleeps a lot, or her best friend. And all three of those sentences, right? And the underlined subjects, it tells us who sleeps a lot. So it's either she or a friend or her best friend. All right. So that is a subject, right? It basically tells us who is doing something, whether it's a she, a friend, or best friend. And now we're going on to our predicates, right? Because remember, a subject, it tells us who or what is doing something. Now we're going on to a predicate. And a predicate, right? It tells us what the subject is doing. So if the subject tells us who or what is doing something, but now the predicate, right? it tells us what the subject is doing. All right, and we see that the predicate tells us what the subject is doing. And when it comes to the predicate, it is the verb plus any other words that tell us more about it. So the same like with subject, it's not just one word, it's more than one word. This, now that we can even do it the verb, or the predicate, the action. Yeah, so subject is the person and predicate is the action. That is correct. It's like saying predicate is the verb. It's just that they're writing a more fancier name. But subject is the person, that's correct. And predicate is the action. Well done. Action or verb. That is correct. So now we are going to identify. We're going to look at the sentences. And then we are going to identify what our predicate is within the sentence. And remember, we said it can be one word or it can be more than one word. Her friend sleeps. Her friend sleeps. Her friend sleeps. What is the predicate within that sentence? So we said that what is her friends doing? They sleep. So sleeps is the first one. So her friend sleeps. So her friend, that is a subject, and the predicate is sleep. All right. And once again, we see the predicate that tells us about the subject, and it also it is the verb plus any other word that tells me about it. And if we look at the next one, it says her friend sleeps a lot. So we said that our subject, it tells who or tells what is doing something. And we said a predicate, it tells us what the subject is doing. It's the verb, it's the action. And so far we've identified sleeps. And if you look at the next one, it says her friend sleeps a lot. We need to identify the predicate. Her friend sleeps a lot. And if we were to identify our predicate, then we can say sleeps a lot. Because who sleeps a lot? Her friend. So sleeps a lot is our predicate. And then the last one says, her friend sleeps a lot on the weekends. Her friend sleeps a lot on the weekends. What do you think is the predicate within that sentence? So a friend sleeps on a weekend, and if we were to identify the predicate, then we can say sleeps a lot on the weekend. Because the predicate, it tells us what the friend does. Friend sleeps or sleeps a lot or sleeps a lot on the weekend. That is what the friend is doing. All right, so now let's go to A plus students. So let's see A, where we are going to identify the subject of a sentence and then we're going to identify the predicate of a sentence. And we see that every sentence has a subject and it has a predicate. It's like saying it has a subject and a verb. And subjects, they tell us who or what is doing something. All right. And there we have an example of sentences, subjects, sorry, sentence, subject sentences. All right. Remember, the subject is either the person or a thing that does the action. A person or a thing that does the action. Yes, so a subject is a person and the predicate is the action, yes, or the verb. All right. So now we need to select two words that make up the subject. Two words. All right. We need to select the two words that make up the subject. It says, my stepmom got a house. All right. And remember, I said a subject, it tells us who or what is doing something. It can either be one word. We need to select the two words that make up the subject. My stepmom got a horse. So we need to select the subject. The subject. And if we select the subject, right, and then my stepmom is the subject. That tells us who got a horse. So my stepmom, because now it tells us who got the horse or who got the gift. All right. And if we were to select the two subjects, we said it is my stepmom. So my and stepmom. And if we were to select the two words, then we said step mom. That is a subject. Remember, one word or more than one word. So the two words, so my and stepmom is the subjects. All right. And the next one is we need to select the two words that make up. Okay, we already have that one. And now it's not going. My stepmom is correct. I don't know why this thing is not moving. Oh, there, it's sorted. All right, so my stepmom is correct because it tells us who got a horse. So my stepmom got a horse, which means that, yeah, that is our subject. Who got a horse? My stepmom. The next one says, Dad makes pancakes. We need to select one word that makes up our set that makes our subject. Dad makes pancakes. So we need to select our subject. Dad makes pancakes. So dad makes pancakes. What is our subject within that sentence? And if we were to select our one subject, then dad is our subject. It tells us who makes pancakes. So dad is our subject. Well done. And the last one, and then we're going to our test. It says select one word that makes the subject. One word that makes up the subject. Kids love it. Kids love it. We need to select that one word that makes a subject. And if we were to select the one subject, the one word that makes up a subject, then we'll say it is kids, because now the question is who loves it? Kids, the subject loves it. So well done. And once again, we say the subject, it tells us either who or it tells us what is doing something. So either who is doing something or what is doing something. It can be one word or it can be more than one word. All right, so now we're going to our test and we're going to select the two words that make up a subject. Two words. It says, those boys missed the game. So those boys missed the game. Is it option one, those boys, or option two, the game? We need to select the subject. And it says that those boys missed the games. And if we were to choose the correct option, then yes, option one is correct. Yes, well done. So those boys are the subjects. Frank's aunt sang the song. Frank's aunt sang the song. We need to select two words that make up the subject. So Frank's aunt sang the song. And if we were to select the two, then Frank's aunt, yes, which is option two. Well done. Yes, well done. And if we were to select the predicate, right, we see that the predicate is the action, it is the verb that tells us what the person is doing. And if we look at the examples, right, well, not even the examples, but the test, we need to select the three words that make up the predicate. Remember, the predicate is the verb plus all the other words that modifies it or that tells us about it. It says we need to select three words that make up the predicate. Is it the? It says the woman named her baby. So is it option one, the woman, or option two, named her baby? So the woman named her baby. So option one or option two. Three words. So if it's three words, then we will say named her baby. Starting with our verb. You see, named is the verb. Named her baby. All right. Your friend lost her lunch. Your friend lost her lunch. Is it option one, your friend lost, or option two, lost her lunch? So we need to select the three words that make up a predicate. And if we were to select the predicate, then we will say lost her lunch, because that is the three words starting by lost, which is our verb. All right. And if we were to select the three words that make up a predicate, all right. And if we were to select the three words, then we will say it's lost her lunch, starting from the verb. All right. So this is the end of our lesson on subject and predicate. We said the subject, it tells us who or what is doing the action. All right. And we see the predicate, right? It tells us the action that the person does. And with the predicate, it is basically the verb. And the predicate can be the verb and all the other things that tells us more about it. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on subjects that tells us who or what is doing the action, and predicate, which is the action that the person or thing is doing. So thank you very much, everybody. I really hope that you're going to have a good and safe weekend further. So until next time, goodbye.